Behind her, Heather heard another piercing howl, high, terrible, and fierce. The howl was followed hard by a cursing, guttural roar of orders. Her fur raised at the sounds, but she ran on. She darted back and forth through the thicket, emerging far from where she'd entered. The sky, already acrid, with twisting plumes of smoke, filled with flaming arrows, which plunged into the thicket she'd only just escaped. The thicket burst into flames, and even more smoke filled the air. Good. Let them think I've burned. She prepared to flee, eyeing the great wall of grey smoke passing before her. Then, through the wall of grey, a gust of wind opened a slim, wispy window. She saw, across the clearing, a single red eye. And it saw her. They stared at each other for a moment in silent fury. Heather was still. She could have run right then, and he could have called his wolves, but neither moved. Neither blinked. Then the smoke thickened, closing the window in grey, and the moment was gone. Heather looked quickly from side to side, then darted along the smoke wall, saw the tops of the trees, knew she had made it near Evergreen Row. She smiled, throwing herself into the last yards, gathering all her energy for her greatest possible speed, then looked straight ahead. The last of the ground smoke cleared to reveal 10 waiting wolves at the bottom of the first pine of Evergreen Row. Heather was flying. She had never put this much energy into anything. Her legs stretched out behind her, then rotated slowly over her head as she flipped in midair to present her powerful feet as a weapon. The red-eyed wolf stood firm at the base of the pine tree. He snarled viciously, extending his spear. Heather hit the ground, just short of the wolves, inches beyond the lunging thrust of Red-Eye's spear. Like a spring, she shot up, feet barely escaping the claws of the desperate, diving wolves. Heather struck the low branches of the tree, grabbing on for dear life. They bent wildly with her weight, crashing into Red-Eye and the nearest wolf soldiers as the others dove in after her. The tree was her only hope of salvation. She clung to it as teeth and spears, swords, and claws sought her. The branches, having bent in with her impact, now sprung out with equal force, shoving back the wolves who had waded in to destroy her. Heather didn't hesitate. She leapt into the thick of the tree, dodging swiping blows and snapping teeth as she ascended the pine. 2 wolves recovered quickly and chased her through the limbs. One of the wolves was inches behind her. As the limb bent with their weight, she once again coiled and launched as powerfully as she could. The wolf's snapping jaws closed on the air where, a moment before, Heather had been. She sailed through the air, this time from partway up the giant pine. Beneath her, she saw the wolves reforming and the terrible glare of Captain Red-Eye. He was shouting orders, and the wolves on the ground were forming up. They were recovering from the surprise she had given them. She landed in the second pine in Evergreen Row, but this time she clung on hard, and when the limbs snapped back, she used the momentum it carried to propel herself farther up into the tree. She did not stop for a moment. She could hear howling and barked orders below. Every ounce of her concentration was required. Again, she sailed through the air between trees, and again, she landed and held on, springing into the heights. She had to keep going. With a glance, she ran out onto another limb. She saw 3 of the wolves standing alongside Red-Eye in the gap between the tree she was in and the next one in Evergreen Row. Her heart skipped as she saw what was in their hands, but it was too late. She coiled and launched. Heather heard the twang of bowstrings as speeding arrows split the air in their flight toward her. Ahead of her, the tree was occupied by 3 more wolves who were scurrying to meet her when, if she landed there. She twisted in the air, trying to move, if only a little bit, from her natural flight. 2 arrows sailed past, whipping the air around her, and the third struck her right ear, splitting it at the top. She focused, reached out for the limbs of the next pine. She made contact, and the limbs swung low just beneath the ascending wolves who growled and bared their teeth. This time, instead of letting the limbs spring back and carry her up again, she let go, falling like an acorn from a tree. She landed behind them. As the wolves slid to a halt and churned in the dirt to recover, Heather shot off into the clearing that led to freedom.